Hello common people, this is Common Guy Reviews and I am your lovely host Pepsi. It is a high time for another manga review, or more of an introductions. Yes, I do this every once in a while, so come join me on this interesting journey. Homunculus is a Japanese manga series written and illustrated by Hideo Yamamoto. Our story begins in a tiny car. Susumu Nakoshi is a 34 years old homeless man who spends nights in his car curled up in the back seats. Car indeed is so small that he really doesn't have any options but to curl up. During a day he is in the company of other homeless people who call him Carboy. Nakoshi loves his car, he drives around with it and knows it inside out. He is able to hear his car's problems, so much so that when it doesn't start, he is able to pinpoint where the problem is only by listening to it. When he runs out of money for the gas, he meets a suspicious looking fella who is offering him a job for 700,000 yen. Simple medical test, trepanation, procedure where they drill a small hole in your skull to increase the circulation of blood and release pressure. For this is, in this strange man's words, a procedure that would give him superhuman powers, such as ESP or being able to see ghosts, telekinetic powers, and so on. Of course, Nakoshi just processes this off as a mumbo jumbo and refuses until his car is stowed away suddenly, which he takes, well, some way. After stumbling around, he finds this weird man again and now agrees to the experiment. Manabu Ito introduces himself, not only as a medical student but also the one who got Nakashi's car stowed away. His father runs a large brain surgery hospital, so Manabu is kinda rich. This has led him to take interest in humans, and for his experiments he needs a volunteer. Nakoshi says that he has lived in the car only for 2 weeks, and at this point we don't know about his past life at all. Procedure takes place at Manabu's home hospital room, where the hole is drilled on Nakoshi's head. After that, seemingly nothing happens. Nakoshi plays around with Manabu for a while. He gets half of the money and the rest when the experiment is over. He even gets his car back. How generous. Even after some trials, nothing seems to show up. No ghosts, no vision, no telekinetic abilities, nothing. Then, after he leaves, he gets distracted and covers his other eye. Suddenly he starts to see rather weird things. When he covers his right eye, his left one sees people differently. Some have their heads shaved half, some are paper thin, some aren't even human anymore. This sudden appearance of monsters freaks him out. But maybe the weirdest thing happens first. This giant robot appears when he spills something onto it. And we can see that it was a mean-looking man, a Yakuza boss, who is not happy to get his suit ruined. But Nakoshi sees something different. He sees a child wearing this giant robot suit, trying to cut off his own finger. This flusters this Yakuza boss and the situation is calmed down. After Manabu greets him again, waking him up from his car home, Nakoshi tells him what he saw. In these crude illustrations they got and figure out what Nakoshi truly sees. They chat some in the restaurant, but after he sees enough monsters in his mind, he leaves. And after some shenanigans, they meet again. And this time Manabu has something to tell him. He tells that he sees homunculi, a little man inside of their brains. They even use the term sensory homunculus. That is a term in neurology where human brains emphasize some parts of the body. And if humans looked like brains see them, they would look something like this. Nakoshi sees a distortion of humans, sees something deeper of them, how their internal anguish or other dominant feelings shape their sensory homunculi. That Nakoshi is able to see. This is the start of the weird story, and oh boy have I been invested in it lately. This manga is interesting, but it's also really disgusting. It ventures deep inside of human mind, in the characters and their psyche, and their backstories. You are hit with the plot twists and almost scandalous revelations, and it leaves you with an awe. Hideo Yamamoto's masterful illustrations about these homunculus appearances is haunting at the minimum, and what is so great about them is that they are always related to the persons themselves, like how this man is paper thin because he has literally paper thin personality, or how the Yakuza boss we met was just a child in a giant mech, relating of how he really is. Speaking of that Yakuza boss, the story of that was really interesting. I highly recommend that you read even until that comes up and is concluded, because it is really the one that took me by surprise and was the moment I finally became so invested in the story. Nakoshi's tale is also really weird, and so is his personality. He hasn't been homeless for that long, so what gives? Also, Manabu seems to be a really interesting character. How he is a son of this famous doctor, and how he is now versus how he was back then. We learn soon enough that his father is in hospital, dying, and so Manabu has more than several things going on at the same time. This manga is not for everyone, as I said. It is disgusting. These characters have some weird things going on with them, especially Nakoshi, as story goes forward. These weird images he sees grow more disordered and weirder by the time, and it's just something you can't look away from. These images drill into your mind. This story consumes you. You see that Nakoshi doesn't do anything but lie most of the time, but you don't know why, and you really want to know why. Even if you see this story from his view, Hideo Yamamoto has hidden the truth in the plain sight masterfully. This is really not anything else I can say without spoiling this amazing story. If you are interested, read it. If you are a fan of the grotesque images and unsettling topics, go for it. I hope this made you interested in this one. This was my introductions to the Homunculus. Brought to you by Common Guy Reviews and speaking to you, your weirded out host Pepsi, and I'll see you in the next review. Goodbye.